Imagine, the sun slowly disappears behind the horizon. The sky becomes dark orange, and then gradually turns black. The daytime noise of nature begins to change. The birds stop singing, a quiet rustle is heard in the tall grass, and somewhere far away, the howling of a wolf is heard. For us, night often means a time of rest, but for ancient people, it was completely different. It could be beautiful, mysterious, but at the same time very dangerous. It was at night that people became especially attentive because the darkness hid a lot of unknowns. When the sun finally set, the whole tribe gathered around the great campfire. Fire was the most precious thing for ancient people. He not only gave light, but also saved lives. His warmth helped him survive the cold nights, and the light did not allow the complete darkness to envelop the camp. Most importantly, the fire scared away dangerous predators. Lions, wolves, bears, and other wild animals were afraid to approach the bright flames. People were very careful with the fire. Today, it is enough to press a button or use a match, but then everything was more complicated. It was difficult to get a new fire, so someone kept making sure it didn't go out. If the flame became weaker, people brought dry branches, leaves, and small pieces of wood. They knew that if the fire went out, the night would become much more terrible. As long as the flames were burning near the fire, life in the camp did not stop. The hunters sat down nearby and checked their tools. They carefully examined the spears, stone knives, and arrowheads. If something broke or became dull, it was immediately repaired. The next day could bring hunting, and it depended on him whether there would be food in the tribe. Women and older people also did not sit idle. They processed animal skins, sewed clothes with bone needles and animal tendons. Someone sorted berries, nuts, or roots collected during the day. Others were cooking by the fire. The smell of fried meat mixed with the smell of smoke and spread around the camp. The children at this time sat next to the adults and watched with interest everything that was happening. They learned from their elders, looked at how to make tools, how to properly work with skins, or how to behave near a fire. There were no schools in those days, so all knowledge was transmitted through observation and experience. But there was one moment that almost everyone was waiting for. After work, it was time for stories. The elders of the tribe began to talk about past times, about dangerous hunting, or strange events that had happened before. The children listened carefully to every word. Sometimes these stories were instructive, sometimes scary, and sometimes amazing. They not only entertained people, but also passed on important knowledge. Some people raised their heads and looked up at the sky. There were no cities, no lanterns, or bright light then, so the stars were much more visible than they are now. The sky seemed like an endless ocean with thousands of bright lights. Ancient people often did not understand what stars were, so they invented different stories and believed that they had a special power. Time passed, the fire gradually became smaller, and most people went to sleep. They wrapped themselves in animal skins and lay down closer to each other to make it warmer. But not everyone fell asleep. Several people remained on duty at the fire. They listened attentively to the sounds of the night and looked into the darkness. Suddenly, somewhere in the forest, the crackling of branches could be heard. The guards were immediately alerted. It could just be the wind, but it could also be a predator that came too close. They took their spears and looked intently into the darkness, ready to protect their tribe. This is how the night passed among ancient people, in the midst of fire, danger, work, stories, and the mysterious starry sky. Every night was a test, but it was thanks to such nights that people learned to survive, help each other, and become stronger.